Hello and welcome back to the Health Chat. I'm your host, Vicky Solaritis, and welcome my co-host, Rick Hay. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Vicky, how are you?
Frazzled, to be honest, really frazzled.
Well, isn't it ironic that weeks ago when we did our other chat, we said during that podcast and video that we should do something on feeling frazzled. And in the interim period, we've actually become frazzled. So, yeah, I think very topical. I think a lot of people out there at the moment, in all seriousness, might be feeling their stress levels a little bit higher than normal, their sleep disrupted, their cognitive function not as good as it once was. So whilst we can be a little bit lighthearted about it, also there's a serious side to helping our mental health at such a time. Yeah,
that's true. And I'm based in Melbourne, and Rick's based in Western Australia. So we have the two extremes, but regardless of where you are, everyone's feeling the impact of what's going on,
Yeah, and I think we've had, haven't we, sort of background stresses, surrounding the whole issue of the pandemic ever since the beginning, really. And those background stresses, I think, energetically affect us day to day, going on in the background, for various degrees for different people, And I think what's also important is that, if we can address some things around stress, we can also help with immune function, because we want the body not to be flooded with cortisol. We don't want the stress hormones dominating everything all the time, because they just lead to so many other problems, or can exacerbate problems that you already have. So dealing with stress levels and helping you be a bit calmer may help with other body functions and systems as well.
That's right. And I guess that brings us to what we're going to talk about. And I wanted to discuss some of our favourite products that we use in our home that helps with stress and managing the current situation that's going on in the world, and what I take and what my husband takes and what even my children take. And that really does help. There's no point in talking about something unless we see the benefits and how it works. And I thought I'd start with my first product, which is Melrose Stress Support. It's kind of a newish kind of product. I really like it because it's loaded with magnesium. So it has about 150 milligrams of magnesium glycinate, and it's blended with B6 and zinc to balance cortisol, relax the muscles, reduce anxiety and nervous tension. And it blends really well. So I actually have got an example of what it looks like. It looks like beer, but it's not. It's super tangy. I mix it with soda water, and it's great. It also includes herbs such as ashwagandha, rhodiola, and these are adaptogenic. They help with physical and mental stress, as well as to help improve sleep quality. It's also got holy basil, and holy basil is probably one of my all-time favorite herbs for stress, because it helps give the patient a sense of light at the end of the tunnel, like there is hope. It does help with that general anxiety disorder, and it has that mood-enhancing benefit. So my tip for this product is take it in the morning, and you'll just feel stable. You'll feel clarity during the day.
That's exactly what you need. I really like that formula. I like the idea of the botanicals together with the mineral. And look, magnesium really is a mineral of the moment, isn't it? And ashwagandha, really the last several years with anemia, people taking it to help take that edge off. And, I think the thing with the magnesium formulas, and why I like them as well and take them, is that they help you during the day when you need that steadiness and focus. But I find as well magnesium can help you sleep at night, and I think that that's why I love the magnesium formulas. I've taken them for years. Other benefits as well, if you're managing to do some exercises, that might help you with muscle cramping. It also may help with headaches and tension as well. One of the products that I was going to mention as well was a magnesium product. It's Cabot Health magnesium, and it's got some different forms of the magnesium, but it also has magnesium orotate. I quite like that form of magnesium. We all have our favourites, but I like the orotates because they also can help a bit with bone health and things like that. So it's nice to look for the form of magnesium that you like. But certainly with you on the magnesium, when I was in clinic years ago, I used to recommend magnesium a lot for migraines as well, with some really good success with my clients that couldn't shift stuff. And sometimes they'd say, gee, I've come to see you and you're sending me off with this magnesium. But because it's involved in so many different enzymatic reactions in the body and does help with that calming, you'll find that it's pretty much a mineral for everyone, isn't it? You know, and one that I think at the moment is completely on point. Yeah.
This is an unusual sort of segue because we talk about stress and a lot of products for adults, but I wanted to touch on some stuff for children because, believe it or not, kids have this sort of underlying bubbling anxiety that may come out in some behavioural changes, right? They could play up, or they're tired, they don't want to go out, which is very common now, that they don't even want to go out and play, and especially because if you're in lockdown and your child is bound to a laptop for such a long period of time, maybe there is some negative association with going back to school, or maybe there's negative association going on the laptop again for extended period of time. We're not understanding what the teacher's discussing. I mean, it's a totally different dynamic now for the people that are in lockdown. And I found some really useful products. And I've got 3, and I'll touch on them really briefly, but I love the Australian Bushflower Emergency Essence. So this is the stock essence. You don't have to buy the stock. You could buy the one where you just take it as it is. But the stock essence, you add 7 drops to a 15 ml or 30 ml dropper that has been pre-filled with 1/3 brandy and 2/3 purified or spring water. And I put this in my children's water bottle for the day. So I just add 4 drops to their bottle of water, and they'll drink that. And that's just to keep them sort of level-headed, I suppose. And I like the pastilles that Rest and Quiet, as well as the Rescue Remedy, because they're good for those acute situations. And I keep them in my handbag, and I even put it in one of my child's lunch boxes when they go to school. So when I tell my child, whenever you start to feel that sort of funny feeling, just go to your bag, take one out and dissolve it in your mouth. And straight away, that association with that anxiety seems to dampen. And having these pastilles, because they do have the original bark formula, and there are about 4 drops in each pastille. Rest and Quiet has other formulas as well, or other essences. What I like is that it helps the child feel in control, less stressed. It helps with that panic, that fear, and it gives them that ability to cope, and it gives them comfort and reassurance that they can get through whatever it is that they're experiencing. So that's my acute, child-friendly formula.
You know, I think the flower essences are underrated in particularly taking that edge off. Once again, going back to my clinical experience with them, with both kids and adults, sometimes when I do my herbal mixes, I would add in the drops to the herbal blend, and then other times I wouldn't. You know, inevitably my clients would come back and say sometimes, nah, that lot of herbs wasn't as good as the ones before, you know. And it's sort of interesting when I look at my notes and see, I didn't add in the Rescue Remedy or the Emergency Essence. I found it really useful sometimes when I was living in London as well, to do it when I might have had to do something in the media that was making me a little bit nervous. They're really nice, and I used to be a very bad flyer as well. So using those situations, but I'm glad you talked about kids, because they pick up what's going on. They've suffered through this current situation as well, and giving them that little bit of support is really important. So I'm going to go a little bit into amino acid territory, because look, it's funny. Aminos have had a resurgence the last couple of years. I've always liked them, and used them with various clients over the years. And when I used to lecture about them as well. But I'm going to talk about a couple of my favourites that I use personally, because I've been, the last couple of years, I had to take care of my elderly uncle and take care of my elderly mum, and suddenly I'm in more of a caring role. And what I'm finding is, as we talked about in the beginning, that my stuff's a bit more frazzled than it was, and I tend to err on the side of anxiety. If I'm going to go anywhere anyway, my mind will go a bit, running off like a galloping horse. So I use some aminos just to take, again, I've come back to this phrase that I'm going to use all the time if I get bored of me using it, but to take that edge off. And one of my all-time favourites, I've got 2 brands here. I've got one that's retail, which is a Healthwise theanine, and then one Practitioner only, which is one of my favourites from Orthoplex. Now, the reason I like theanine is it promotes that alpha brainwave activity, and that just gives us that feeling of being a little bit more in control, a little bit steady. And I tell you, these are only anecdotal, but I can only share with you anecdotal stories about myself, right? But
Yeah.
when I don't take it, Vicky, people will say to me, are you on your theanine? You know, have you stopped taking it? Because I tend to start trying to do 50 things at once.
Yeah.
Whereas I find with theanine, I can sort of relax a little bit more and you know, decide what I need to do, follow my agenda. But I found that being to be very useful before and after bed. You can get it from tea, you know, green tea has it, regular tea has it. So that's why that old, let's have a cup of tea, sit down and have a bit of a chat. You actually are getting some nice amino acid effects from that. The other one I wanted to talk about is from Give Back Health, who, as the name suggests, they are donating back to certain charities that are helping people, you know, in difficult times. So it's a nice, again, a practitioner brand, but it's a nice brand that actually is giving supplements and back to the general population of people who are in need. I think it's a really lovely concept. Give Back Health is the one that I've chosen is GABA, and you know, I take both GABA and theanine together, and the GABA works for me across the whole spectrum of whether you're feeling a bit down, whether you're feeling, you know, anxious or flighty, whether you can't sleep. It really does, you know, have a reputation as being the happiness neurotransmitter. So it's a really nice one. What I will say about both of them is start as the dose suggests. You don't have to have too much of these. And in fact, sometimes too much can be too much. So just start off slowly, build up to a higher dose, see how you go. I do mine morning and night. But if you don't know about GABA and you don't know about theanine and you want some support from aminos that are going to run parallel to you know, a nice healthy whole food diet, if you're managing to get it, with your magnesium and your B vitamins, with some of the herbs that Vicky mentioned earlier, and you know, you might like to look at some other things, even like spices like saffron, to give you that little bit of assistance with mental health. There's a lot of good research around the foods that help us. Even things, you know, out there like the nuts and seeds giving you the omega-3 fatty acids can help you with mood. So there's a lot that you can do. But I'm finding that the aminos give you that little turbocharger. So if your multivitamin isn't working, if your herbs aren't working, which it doesn't happen very often because herbs are so powerful, but if you want a little bit more, then go for the aminos, GABA and theanine.
I like that brand too. I like their philosophy, and their quality is very high. There's a whole range of new products that have come in, that one and my new favorite, which is Ora Health. So I've got some behind me here, and there is 6 in their range. And the one that I'm particularly partial to is called Profound Sleep. But I wanted to talk about this because it's exclusive to health food stores, and they really are. So Ora Health really are setting a standard or a new standard in natural medicine. They look amazing on the shelf. I mean, how cute. It's like a little apothecary, you know, with their glass bottles and their little red seal. They're eye-catching. They look gorgeous, and the formulations are really, really superior. The formulations took 18 months to develop with herbalists, naturopaths, and nutritionists. I like it because they're high-quality, traceable ingredients, organic ingredients used in every formula. They're Australian-made, designed and owned, and they're plant-based. And the one that I want to talk about, Profound Sleep, again has that magnesium. It's magnesium glycinate, but it has herbs as well. So we've got Melissa, Passiflora, Schisandra, Ziziphus, and chamomile. And I like it because it's a powder. It tastes really good. It tastes really good. And it's for people that have that active mind, that just need to quieten the mind and just get into that slumber state. So if it's made for adults. So adults that are having difficulty just falling asleep, if they've got restless leg, that magnesium will help. If they're waking unrefreshed, if they have a nervous irritability, disturbed sleep, and night sweats. Great product. And my top tip is you take it half an hour before you want to just get into that state of sleepiness. Really, really good. Works very effectively.
I'm glad you mentioned that one because, yeah, I just got a a parcel of them to try. I'm really looking forward to it. And the other thing is, you touched on a good point, which was taking it prior to when you get into bed, because a lot of people I've found over the years, when they want a sleep formula, what they'll do is they'll jump into bed, take the sleep formula and expect to fall asleep. And then we'll say, oh, that formula never worked. So the compliance is down. So if you can get it in 30 minutes, even an hour before you go to bed, you're more likely to fall asleep while you're reading. Now, that should involve as well. And look, I watch movies in bed. We all do. You know, I'm reading the news late at night. I do things that I tell people not to do when I'm, writing something about sleep or whatever it is. But if you can grab a book, have your supplement, with your magnesium and your herbs in it. Once you do that, just read and relax a little bit without the electronic magnetic radiation, without the light influence. You will fall asleep better. It's a case of do as I say, not do as I do. But I do try that some nights, and that will help, taking it early. I think some other things that can work around bedtime as well. There's a lovely Fiji Kava brand that we do, and that Kava formula can help you. The thing with Kava is, if you take too much, you may feel a little bit drowsy the next morning, but if you do it again according to dose, you shouldn't. And if you have it early enough, it depends. I think Kava is sort of pretty, I was going to say high end, but that's the wrong term. It's sort of, it's strong, isn't it? So it's one that if you've tried a lot of other things, you might get some effect out of as well. You could, if you're interested, go see a herbalist and get a Californian poppy as well. It's a really nice, strong formula. I'm talking about some formulas here that are, or some herbs here that are stronger in case you need that little bit more. Because if you've suffered chronic insomnia, you might sometimes need a couple of
added. Yeah, and then so that's really good for adults, and for children. What I found really works well. It's so simple. It's a Tisserand rollerball, and the fragrance of it is just so relaxing. It's the lavender, and it's stunning. So you just put it on the child's temple or on their wrists, and then that smell just helps them to relax. So we have something for adults and we have something for kids. And what I wanted to mention also, which I don't know if many people realize this, but in the Ora range, the immune tonic has got quercetin and vitamin D, which I know quercetin is like a really hot ingredient at the moment. And that's what I thought I should also mention.
One of our key anti-inflammatories, and you're going to get the benefits of vitamin D, not only for your mood, but also for your bone health and your immune function. It really is. You look at what's going on, globally at the moment, and you want to be making sure that your vitamin D levels are up where they should be. It's the one top tip. And the bonus of it is that it will help you with mood. I think you've got something that, when you've got those three things together. I use that one a lot for my mum. She's got a lot of sort of, bone issues as she's getting older. But I've found as well that has helped her mood to increase. I chose two formulas from Bio-Practica that are along similar lines to the sleep formula that you just mentioned. I've got, well, obviously, one of them is called Rejuva Sleep. So you're gonna, what it says on the label, it's going to help you. It's going to help you do. So Rejuva Sleep contains some different botanicals. It has ziziphus in it. It also has passion flower and California poppy. And what you've got there is that synergistic action helping you to calm down and to stay asleep. And that's the key thing with this formula. It's going to help you also to keep that sleep a little bit deeper. And that's what you want. I really, really like it. I think that it's a formula that has been well researched. The herbals in it are ones that I've recommended over the years. So I'm very, very happy with that formula, and think that it could help you, again, fall asleep quicker and stay asleep longer, which is what you want. So Rejuva Sleep's cousin, Rejuva Calm, has several botanicals, including lemon balm. It has passion flower as well. And this one is more the one that you will take during the day. So if you're looking for something, if your day is feeling troubled, if you're feeling frazzled, as we said in the beginning, then this is a formula that will help you. It won't make you fall asleep as such, but it will help you to be a bit more steady. It also contains lavender, and lavender has made a bit of a resurgence. It used to be, in vogue in the 60s a lot, and don't say I was young enough to remember. but lavender really has come back into in vogue to help people with sleep, and you mentioned it on the roll-on for the kids, and it's appearing in more and more herbal and botanical formulas for that reason. So if you get your sleep right, and then you get the calmness during the day, your sleep the next day is better. So it all falls into place. Now, I don't know about you, but if you are feeling frazzled, if you are feeling tired, if you're feeling confused, you just may need that 20% bit of assistance. So what, I think what we've talked about, Vicky, is helping people to get that little bit of 20% back. You get that 20% back, then you're more able to do your exercise. You're more able to cook healthily. Because what happens to me is when I get slightly out of, feel a bit out of control, feel a bit disempowered, I'm not sleeping properly, I might feel work is too epic or whatever, I then find I stop eating well because I can't be bothered to cook. Then the next thing that goes is my exercise. And of course, when exercise goes, you don't get your feel good, chemicals are released, so you feel more sluggish. So ironically, by addressing the nervous system, you can therefore end up with more energy. So you can do exercise, which will help boost immune function, and the whole thing comes together really well. So I don't think underestimate taking some supplements, taking some herbs, whatever resonates with you, to give you 20%. And my other little tip, because I'm raving on a little bit, how unusual, but my other little tip would be, it doesn't have to fix something 100%. If you can just get a little bit of support there, stay with it. Stay with it for a few weeks. Stay with these things that Vicky and I have mentioned for a couple of months. If you are really frazzled, it takes time to rebuild that system. And that's what's very important. Give it time. The thing that I get disappointed most around natural medicine is when I hear people say, I tried it for 3 days, it didn't work. I tried it for one night, it didn't work. No, I'm not into natural things because they didn't work immediately. Some do. And if you're really in need, you might get that benefit, but you really have to stick with it. And we live in a very impatient society now, myself included. If something's not working within 27 seconds, we think it doesn't work. You've got to allow nervous system restoratives to restore your nervous system. You have to allow the carminatives to calm it down, the things to help with insomnia to do their job. So each of the categories, support you in a different way. But my last one, and if you're listening, you're probably thinking, oh, thank goodness for that, because me droning on would be enough to send anyone to sleep. Otherwise, you don't need the formulas. I wanted to talk about vitamin D, and we have, I think, previously in other podcasts mentioned vitamin D, and we did also at the beginning of this one. I've got a Whole Earth and Sea one. You talked earlier about brands being ethical, and we touched on brands giving back. I really like this brand because their ethics and their B corporation certification means that from seed to shelf, they're traceable and ethical, and I think nowadays that matters. I chose this one because it's a personal preference as a vegan form as well. So if you are vegan and you're lacking in D, which may be the case, this can give you the support you need. Now, just touching on how vitamin D is going to help you again, just as a little reminder, is it's going to give you that the research out there around depression, anxiety, around sleeplessness is going to be able to give you that support there. But then we have vitamin D in that role of bone health as well. So that's an important one that it does. And again, also there's more than this, but just coming back again to the immune support that is particularly pertinent right now to get those vitamin D levels up. If you want to go out in the sun, that's great, but try to get the sun on your abdomen. That's difficult if you're in the Northern Hemisphere now going into winter, and also difficult if you're using lots of sunscreen. So I'm not saying ditch the sunscreen, but I'm saying a little bit of sun every now and then, combined with a supplement, can help you. And if you're frazzled, you've got more of a need for these supports, because people will say to me, can't I just have a whole food diet and be all right? Well, yes, if you put the effort into a very, healthy 5, 7, 8, 9 a day diet, 10, 11, 12 colourful foods, you know, including some vegan meals and some veggie meals and not just takeaways, then probably. But in the real world, if your soils are depleted with some of the minerals, supplements can give you that little bit back. And as I said, give you that 20% extra that you might need.
And we do need that, because as our stress levels go up, diet, I don't think, is going to suffice regardless, because, you know, the body does need it. So I like your tip. I think it's very important to get vitamin D. And I mean, we've had winter here. You're in Perth, so you've got glorious weather, but we've got rubbish weather. But you're right, that's the best way to get it, because as soon as you step in the sun, you automatically have that sense of calm. You automatically feel happy. And that's exactly what that vitamin's doing, that vitamin D. Thank you, Rick.
No, thank you. And I hope that this, you know, as I said earlier, I hope that this helps some people even get a 10 to 20% edge taken off. And that, you know, yourself, that can feel like sometimes just feeling 20% better can be the difference between feeling miserable or singing in the car, you know, and you sort of think, hang on a minute, how did that happen? And this is where I think, you know, more natural medicines are just so wonderful to support you. And the nervous system is one area that they do particularly well. Mm-hmm. If you've never tried them before, it's an opportunity to do so right now, and we hope. And we were talking, we should announce what we've got coming up, because we were talking earlier and talking about, you know, lockdowns and all that. And we decided we better do one on weight management, because I think everyone's probably been, you know, munching on things they probably shouldn't. And again, to try to get the feel-good factor, you know, maybe the chocolates come out a little bit more, the serotonin's being boosted, the carbs boosting the serotonin. So we're going to do our next one on weight stabilization, shall we call it?
Yeah, and, I think it's from feeling frazzled to feeling frumpy. So that's the next one.
2021, the year delivering you frazzled and frump. Yeah, great.
Thanks so much, Rick. I look forward to speaking with you every time on the Health Chat.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
Bye.